There's something interesting going on with the Pump.Fun ecosystem or the Memecoin launchpad on the Solana chain. Prices go back up again, yet the activity on chain is not. Let's have a look at Moodeng, one of the top performers in the last few days. Let's see how much longer this rally can last. Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Now here's a list of Pump.Fun ecosystem tokens. They are ordered by their market cap, and Moodeng is the 5th largest Pump.Fun ecosystem token. It's got a market cap of 127 million and it's up 183% in the last week, more than any other token in the same market cap category. This is then how that looks like on a chart. One could call this hockey stick growth. Yet, even though prices of Pump.Fun tokens are going up, the number of transactions on chain, not necessarily. At least not as much as one might expect. It's going sideways since November of last year. And when we look at the Pump.Fun related trading volume versus all the rest, Pump.Fun is actually comparatively shrinking. Now this is not the first video on Moodeng on this channel. There's already 5 other videos. The very first one was published on the 30th of September 2024. And that video outperformed the average video on this channel. The average video is just here in gray. The recent video, it did not outperform. It slightly underperformed. So is there potentially decreasing interest in Moodeng over time? Now, before we go into the details of the on-chain analytics, I want to clarify one thing. Because there's several versions of the Moodeng token. There's Moodeng Moon, which is listed on CoinMarketCap, but only has a market cap of $7,000. Then we've got Moodeng VIP, also listed on CoinMarketCap with a market cap of 15 million. In this video, we're going to look at the largest of the Moodeng tokens with a market cap of 126 million. That's the one on Solana. Now, why are we getting into altcoins in the first place? It's a player versus player game, right? So there's no value created here. It's just money flowing from the not so skilled people to the more skilled and more informed people. But we're getting into meme coins because we hope for more performance relative to the benchmark. So relative to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Moodeng is on Solana, so if we buy Moodeng, we should outperform Solana. Otherwise, why take on the additional risk on top of just holding SOL? And so that's why I like charts like this. It's Moodeng relative to Solana over time. And in the early days, when the token just launched, it outperformed Solana massively by almost 2000%. Then came the big crunch, a contraction of the value relative to Solana by 94%. And now we are coming back up. If we take the prior all-time highs as a reference point, the token still has upside potential of roughly 300% from here. And that's a nice thing about those Pump.Fun ecosystem tokens, right? They don't have an increasing supply over time. There are no token unlocks. It's just a fixed supply that gets traded over time. And so a relative price in the early days can be compared with a relative price today because the supply, again, is not expanding over time. Now, it appears as recently, a lot of the demand for the altcoins is not just coming from the spot market, it's also coming from the bets on the price, from the levered bets, the perpetual futures. And whenever the open interest on those perps is going up, so whenever there's more and more bets on the price, the spot price tends to follow as well. So just have a look at how much those two lines correlate with one another. Now with that rally, we did not necessarily see one particular side taking a stronger bet, as in the longs and the shorts are pretty much balanced. However, we did see a lot of liquidations. So the market tends to now be in equilibrium, but this recent rally did create quite some revenues for the market makers and centralized exchanges. But let's get back to on-chain analytics. Let's have a look at those 73,000 holders in more detail. Because not all of those holders are created equal, right? Some of them might just hold a few cents of the token. Others might hold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of the token. Now with that rally in the last month, this more than 5x rally, we did see how the number of first-time traders on the Solana chain went up massively. So a lot of new investors come into the token, and that's exactly what we want to see, right? We want to see an expanding investor base. That means that the reference price can increase over time. We also see how the trading volume starts to pick up again. It tends to come in waves, and we did have a long period of silence for a while. Now the token is starting to wake up again. But what's interesting is that it's more and more the small retail investor that's generating that trading volume. So small retail means wallets that have less than $1,000 worth of the token. Medium retail means up to 10,000, large retail up to 100,000, and whales above 100,000. So the small retail wallets tend to make up more and more of the spot trading volume on the Solana chain. Now let's do again this comparison. So this is Moodeng relative to Solana. And we should expect more investors in the token over time as the price goes up. We should see this then afterwards come down. And now we should see again a lot of new investors coming into the token. However, when we actually look at the data on chain, the price rally is much, much larger than the increase in the number of holders. Isn't that fascinating? So on the left side, we see the number of wallets that have at least 7,500 tokens. So at the current price, that's $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's a 10x in minimum holding. So it's now $10,000. And on the right, a wallet has to hold at least $100,000 worth of the token. Again, the adoption curves are quite similar. And yes, there are some wallets that are recently buying, but those purchases are nowhere near in alignment with how quickly the price is rising. So it does appear as if the leverage in the perpetual futures has some kind of impact. We see how on-chain over time, the pump.fund ecosystem becomes less and less important relative to other Solana transactions. However, we don't necessarily need more on-chain demand for the price to go up. The derivatives market can already be enough. The number of investors over time doesn't need to reach new all-time highs for the price to go up. It doesn't look like people are currently getting short squeezed. It doesn't look like there's so many people betting on falling prices that that's the reason that the price is going up. It seems like simply some market makers are interested in getting the price up and keeping the balance with the spot market. So that's probably why we still see some purchases on chain, but the driver for this price rally is definitely leverage. It's definitely the bets on the price. It seems to be a worthwhile endeavor. Yesterday, 16 million worth of shorts had been liquidated across various exchanges. Here's something I haven't shared that often on this channel. I actually studied investment management. I studied financial analysis. That was in Hong Kong. That was for a Master of Science. But a lot of the things that I learned at the time, I had to unlearn afterwards. There are a lot of misconceptions that are present in academia that don't apply to the real world. For example, the idea of efficient markets, that the current price that we see for any asset is already the balanced demand and supply of the asset. All of the information that's publicly available is already baked into the price. This is definitely not correct, and I've got proof for that. For example, check out the following. This is the YouTube channel of Jesse Eckel, another crypto YouTuber. And he just published a video on how he recently put $10,000 into this dead altcoin. The altcoin was the winner token. The video had been published on the 6th of May. Now here's the difference between most markets and the crypto market. The nice thing about the crypto market is that we can figure out what other people are doing. All the information is public, but that public information isn't used by a lot of people. Most people don't go at length to find out who's buying what, who's selling what. And if we do some on-chain analytics, we can find the wallets of various people. For example, over here, we've got a signal that Jesse Eckel bought the winner token, not for $10,000, but for $10,005. That was on CowSwap, and that was on May 2nd, so 4 days before publishing the video. This is actually what we see very often within the crypto space. Unfortunately, because of the very little regulation in the space, pump and dumps are super common. People buy the token first and afterwards publish a video on the token, hoping for this to garner some attention, hoping for this to push up the price, which to a degree works. It works better in a bull market than in a bear market, but especially for small cap cryptocurrencies, it still works to a degree. And so check this out. This is when Jesse Eckel bought. So he bought for 0.64 cents on the 2nd of May, and the subsequent 2 days, not much has happened. Then for whatever reason, then on the 5th of May, the trading volume went up a lot. And my suspicion is, I don't have proof, I'm not part of his premium group, but my suspicion is that he talked about the token to his insiders just one day before publishing the video. That was then when the inner circle got in. And then subsequently on the 6th of May, when he published the video, the price went up further. So since he bought, the price went up by 22%. And so obviously all the public information, as in Jesse Eckel buying into the token, was not baked into the price at 0.64 cents, because most people were not aware of that public information, because most people don't go at length to figure out who owns what wallet. And so we are not the only ones that follow this strategy. There is an entire YouTube channel just dedicated to tracking wallets, and that's Across the Rubicon. And in an ironic inception kind of way, we are tracking Across the Rubicon as well. And they bought, for example, the Trump token, and that was at $3.36. So here is their YouTube channel. They've got 141,000 subscribers. And here is Trump. They basically bought the token in the first 4 hours after launch. They got the massive gains. It's all about being early. The price went up by more than 1,500%. And the vast majority, right, the people that aren't following crypto that closely, they lost. And so when people tell me that crypto is just random gambling, here is proof that it is not just random gambling. Yes, there is a luck component involved, obviously, but there's also a skill edge. And that's why money concentrates towards a few winners over time. Most people lose, but the people that put in most effort, they win. And it's not just about wallet tracking, it's not just about being early, it's about understanding supply and demand in general in crypto. Most people, for example, overlook tokenomics. They don't really understand the supply side, but price development is supply versus demand. For example, this here, this is the Balancer token. So this is a very old decentralized finance protocol. And sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. But when it goes up, it tends to be because all of crypto is going up. It tends to be just Bitcoin appreciating and thus helping the altcoin market as well. When we look at Balancer relative to Bitcoin, the price development is way more clear, right? Balancer tends to underperform Bitcoin, and we can again make money from this. So that's also not common knowledge. We don't have to make money by betting on rising prices. We can make money by betting on falling prices, and it doesn't have to be the falling US dollar price. It can be the falling relative valuation. So if one token underperforms Bitcoin long term, as did Balancer, we can make money from that underperformance. We can make money from the relative valuation, not just from the US dollar price changes. So still, up to this day, we can make profit as this chart continues to go down. And this is much easier to bet on than trying to figure out what next meme coin might pop. Now, why is Balancer going down consistently like this? Again, it's tokenomics. It's simply the supply expanding very quickly over time. And if demand doesn't grow as quickly as supply, and the supply is broadly dispersed into many holders' hands, we tend to see continued selling pressure. Of course, the price in US dollars can come up when Bitcoin goes up, but we are not betting on that. We are betting on the relative valuation. And so this is what I strongly believe in. I think the more we learn about a market, the more skill edge we have. And in the end, since we have both skill and luck involved in crypto trading, if we have enough skill and if our sample size is high enough, we tend to get more and more gains. So we maximize our expected value. Or in online poker terms, one would say our EV. I used to play online poker actually professionally. This is how I paid for my studies in Hong Kong to begin with. So I was half of the year in Gibraltar, the other half I was in Hong Kong, and I was studying in Hong Kong for that financial analysis degree. But yeah, I've published more than 100 tutorial videos, for example, on how to make money by shorting altcoins, how to do the proper risk management without getting liquidated, how to make money by relative valuation shorts. So that's that video. It's 42 minutes in length. Then there's another entire tutorial section just on how to find various influencer wallets. So this is how we know why Jesse Eckel bought before publishing the video. We are tracking various influencer wallets, more than 500 in total now. And there's an entire course just on how to find influencer wallets. For example, through the NFTs that they are holding, for example, through the centralized exchange deposit addresses they use, for example, through related transaction wallets. There's many different approaches. And we then discuss those approaches and we share our findings in the wallet research chat. So yeah, for example, here is a post of how CryptoGains talked about the Champ token, and we knew before that. Just another example. And so here's our influencer trade channel. So here we see when people pump and dump tokens. So Kyle Chessy, for example, is currently de-risking. He's selling a lot of his meme coins. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. The link is down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. There should also be a link directly on this video here on the right. So feel free to just click on that. It will lead you directly to the sign up page. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to give this a like. It helps the channel grow. Feel free to also subscribe. I publish videos regularly. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. Cheers!